Hey guys, check out our peach orchard. It's a little bit neglected. We're learning how to trim trees and or to prune and stuff, but look at all these peaches. One there, couple there, bunch in there, and bunch there. These trees are only those loaded up. We fight every year to fight the frost, and look at those, how big that peach tree is. These trees are only about 6 years old, maybe 5. But look at the difference in planting. Those are all loaded up. Planted this little guy here at the same time that these trees were planted. But because it's under this drip line of this tree, everything's getting robbed. So look at the difference. That one's basically the same size that it was the day we planted it. And these have trunks on them that are like 6 inches through, and they're 20 feet tall. They're in major need of some pruning. Well, we've got like 6 or 7. Actually, there's about 8 here, and 1 or 2 plums. And our plan is, it was this earlier, we were hoping to get them moved, but we're gonna come in here with the backhoe. This is our old house, and we're gonna come here with the backhoe and dig these dudes up in the wintertime, prune them down as much as we can, about half their size at least, and then put them in our orchard. So we'll have some good trees with a real big start on them, and hopefully they're adapted somewhat to this area. This one here, all the peaches didn't do very well. They're just brown and rotted. Not really sure what makes the difference, but look at the size of those trunks. Big. When we planted, we put like half a 5-gallon bucket of chicken litter into each of these holes. So there, look at that one. I don't know if you can see or not. Look at how big that is. Pretty big for a young 4 or 5, I think it's 5 years, 5-year-old that these trees are. You can see peaches there, and it's hard to see in the video there. A bunch in this branch, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we might actually get a decent crop of peaches this year. We can figure out how to keep them from getting bad. That one's got a spot on it right there. We can figure out what to do with them to keep them from turning bad before they ripen all the way. But pretty exciting to finally be making a few peaches off of them. And hopefully, if all works well, like I said, we'll be able to transplant these this winter and then have some nice big well-established trees getting a good start. With the backhoe, we can pull down in here and put a trailer right beside the driveway, dig them up, carefully set them over onto the trailer, and then transplant them, and hopefully we'll be able to save them that way. But we didn't have much room on this our old property. It's 1.5 acres, and it all sits on the side of the hill. Pretty much the only flat thing is where the driveway and the house is. Everything else runs off the side of the hill. But yeah, we got to get those out. There's a plum tree back in there that's super long and skinny. Nothing happening. Oh, that's a peach, I guess. Got some peaches way in the top, but we'll have to get it topped and get it to try to spread out. It's because the trees are so thick in there, it's just wanting to go way straight up and not make anything. But it's a good chance we're learning how to prune. I'm learning that pruning is painful, kind of like the Bible talks about. You have to cut off way more than what you think that you would, and you think you got this big gigantic tree and you're gonna get a bunch of fruit, but really you got to prune it way back. Like half of all this is probably gonna have to go, maybe even 2/3. Like all these big gigantic limbs way up there in the middle of nowhere, got to cut all that out. And it's really painful when you look at it and you're like, oh, I've got a gigantic tree and look at how nice it is and we're gonna be loaded up. But they really don't produce fruit when they're growing, just putting it into growing the tree. And you gotta prune it back, and then they'll start to produce fruit afterwards. I think it's like the second year after you do a hard pruning that starts to produce. So it's a whole process. But like I said, it's painful. I've come in here and cut these back once, or semi cut them back, and when I did, I cut almost half the tree out of them in that time, all the stuff that was big and tall. And I was like, man, I'm cutting a bunch off of these, and we've spent so long watching them grow and everything. But the key is to keep at them and not let them get big and wild beforehand, and then just prune them properly. Look at those raspberries. Anyhow, that's our Peaches Orchard update. Like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Any comments if you know how to get that scab stuff off of peaches. And have a blessed day.